get started. I'm going to screen share because my new thing now is I got this stuff. I learned how to make slides.
Yay!
Seriously, in love with this because it's super. If I could do this, anybody can, and it just keeps thoughts organized, and so that I don't, fall off course. Okay.
Which program is that?
This is Google.
Oh, Google. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm Nina. I'm new. Sorry. Hi.
Hi, Nina. Hi, Nina.
Hi.
So I just want to introduce myself quickly for anybody who has not met me yet. My name is Lisa Noto. I've been with Pampered Chef just over 22 years. I was signed by the infamous Sharon Zellen, our National Executive Director. And depending on whose team you're on, if Sharon never asked me, none of us would be here in this capacity. I'm sure other people would have found you in Pampered Chef eventually and scooped you up, but we're all here because of the way my journey started, and then I asked someone and it just took off from there. So tonight we are going to talk about, and whether you're brand spanking new or you have 10 years in the company, it doesn't matter. Everybody who leaves this call tonight is going to be equipped to do fundraisers. So tonight is about teaching you to do them. Oh, you know what? Let me just mute everybody really quick so we have a clean recording. And if you don't have background noise, you can stay unmuted, but whatever. Okay. Oh, Megan's back. 2 nights in a row, Megan. All right. So fundraisers. Let me go back. Fundraisers, tips, and tricks. Now, you'll find fundraising information under Consultants Corner. You're going to click Explore, and then it's under Party Types to Offer. And when you go to Party Types to Offer, you'll just scroll down, and you'll get to Fundraiser, and it'll say click, read more. And it's a way to give back, promote a fundraiser party to give back a percentage of the sales from the party, and the sales is always before tax and shipping. And you could do it for any kind of organization that's not like just an individual person that needs to pay their Visa bill. But if that individual person is not well, if they're unhealthy and they have a foundation set up for them, then that would be a viable fundraiser. So what we're going to do tonight is we're going to just get to know fundraisers a little bit, where to find them, and some tips and tricks. And then we're going to end this call with, my part of it's not going to take long, Amy, and then I'm going to turn the floor over to you. And she's going to tell us about this fundraiser she had last month. So, who's going to fundraise? Where are we going to do it? Why are they going to do it? When are they going to do it? So we could do it with places of worship, dance studios, parents with kids in gymnastics, sports teams, animal rescues. A personal foundation for someone specific who's not healthy. Usually when someone is really ill, a foundation is set up for their families. Schools, homeless shelters, and we just saw a minute ago, Feeding America and help the American Cancer Society. Right down here on this first slide, Pampered Chef has an ongoing relationship with those two foundations. So, where the fundraisers are going to come from? Everywhere. So where can we typically find fundraisers? How many of you have driven past a school, a Walmart, somewhere where you see kids jumping up and down with their cardboard signs? Anybody ever see that? And they're like, come on, lady. I'm like, no, not touching you, not touching my car. But when we're out and about and we see signs, maybe in the Knights of Columbus, or we see the kids and it says, St. Joe's Car Wash or what have you, I want you guys to have your cell phones out and take a picture of the sign about the fundraiser, because it's 9 times out of 10 always going to have a phone number attached to it. So when you take a picture of the sign, St. Joseph's Carnival fundraiser, Saturday, July 12th, there's going to be a phone number. For more information, call or what have you. So you call, and you're going to ask the person in charge of fundraising to speak to you. And then when you get this person on the phone, you're going to ask, you're going to tell them, hi, this is Joe with Pampered Chef. I just wanted to ask, when was, or have you booked your Pampered Chef fundraiser yet this year? And you know what's going to happen. They're going to say, what's Pampered Chef? And no, we don't have one booked. And that's going to open up a conversation where, oh, I can't believe you've never heard of Pampered Chef or what have you. So this is us taking the bull by the horns when we see signs for fundraising. when we call the person, ask for the person in charge of fundraising, and we introduce ourselves and connect with them, and we ask, that's us taking the initiative. And if you have a local, on Long Island, it's called the Penny Saver and the Yankee Trader. So, you know, town papers like that often have a section in the back where they advertise fundraisers and vendor events and fairs and things like that. Okay, so where can we find potential fundraiser hosts? In our parties, through friends and family, through our own children and grandchildren. I mean, I'm not old enough for grandchildren yet. I mean, I'm old enough, but I don't have any. Grandchildren and our children, through our local library, and through all kinds of social media platforms. People will often talk about it forthcomingly about fundraising, and then other people, you won't know that they care about anything until you start probing them with questions. So let's take a look at how do we ask. The top one is a good way to ask. It's a good one. It's okay. You know, just curious, if you aren't interested in free products, is there a cause near and dear to your heart that could use a monetary donation? But that question results in what kind of an answer? Anybody? What's an answer when I say, is there a cause near and dear to your heart?
Well, I think that any cause near and dear to your heart, most of the time is going to be someone with medical congenital defects or animals, because, you know, I'm an animal freak. You know, for me to ask somebody to do a fundraiser, then it would be something that I personally believe in as well.
Good, Nina. But what I was, you were getting a little too fancy for me. What I meant was that question results in a yes or a no.
Right.
Right. So we don't want to do that. We want to get people talking. So here's the recommended way to ask. I'm just curious, if you aren't interested in earning free products, tell me what kinds of causes are important to you, ones that could really use some funds. And so that's when the person would be more prompted to respond like that with.
That's exactly what I did. Yeah.
Right. So you know that you had the answer before I came out with it. So again, on all my training calls, I try to reiterate that it's important whenever possible that we ask questions that don't result in a yes or no. Because then it ends abruptly, you know?
Open-ended.
So tell me a little bit about that. Tell me a little bit about the causes or the charities or the things you volunteer for, things of that nature. And so then people will be like, oh, well, I do love dogs, so I guess I could do one for the local shelter or the ASPCA or whatever, you know, places help animals. And when Amy talks, it's going to be about, I won't give away what kind of animal, but it's about an animal. Okay, so how it adds up. And this information on the left and right side of the screen is taken directly from Consultants Corner. Now, here's how the donations and the percentages stack up. 15% is donated with commissionable sales of $600 or more. And remember, if you're new, $600 is before tax and shipping. 10% for less than $600. So when you're thinking about 10% of $500, that's $50. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm not impressed with $50. You know, it's better than nothing, but we're going to do a lot better than that. The host of the fundraiser will receive a 10% past host discount to purchase, you know, whatever, and $3 per booking are going to be given to the fundraiser. We earn lower commission on a traditional fundraiser. So instead of a base of 20 to 25%, fundraisers are only paid 15%, traditional fundraisers. But if you have your career sales and you've earned a 2% raise, that will go to 17%. If you're a senior consultant or a team leader or a director or above, you will also get that additional percentage, but you're not going to get 20% or 25% base. It's always going to be lower for fundraisers. I'm going to give you some tips and tricks now. So on a typical fundraiser that resulted, let's say, in $1,000 commissionable sales, typical fundraiser would be a $150 donation from Pampered Chef. And the chairperson would get to choose a monthly host special at 60% off. So they don't get any free product. However, what if we looked at it a different way? And this is my favorite way. $1,000 cooking or virtual or catalog party. If it was for host benefits, the host would receive normally 215 and free, but if you look in the middle and to the right of the screen, right now in June, $1,000 party earns a host 430, and in July it earns a host 315. And free products are free. They are tax free. They don't cost anything except the hostess's shipping. So what if that same $1,000 fundraiser was submitted as a cooking catalog or virtual party? It earns host benefits. So I would discuss this ahead of time with my host, and I would say, or I'd ask, I'm just curious, were you planning to make your own purchase in this fundraiser? And they say, yes, I'll be shopping. I'll say, well, can I tell you how many of my chair people have, the route they have taken? And I really only do this with people that I know the fundraiser is not going to blow into gigantic tens of thousands of dollars in proportion. This is going to be something contained. And I've done fundraisers as high as $9,000 with this method, because this is what we did. We submitted it as a cooking party or a catalog party. And then the host took the host benefits and cut her own check to the organization. So we're just, for argument's sake, going to go with $1,000 party. Would the host rather have a $150 donation to her cause? And I'm saying her, but it could be obviously a man or a woman. Would they rather have $150 donated to the cause of their choice? Or, and again, I'm going to just use June and July for now because we have that still in front of us. If I said to you, Nina, you could take $430 and spend it on any products you want for your own home. They're tax-free. It's only going to cost you $5.70 shipping to have it sent to your house. And then you could make the $150 check out of your personal account, your money, and donate that. You'll be coming out ahead because not only will you be earning free product value, you're also going to get 5 items or sets at 50% off. You'll get the monthly host special. You'll get unlimited 30% off the entire catalog. You'll get 10% off all your purchases for the next year with any consultant. And you'll earn future party picks on the people I book parties with. So that'll give you savings down the road.
Sold.
Right? So now
Sold.
this is not going to be something that you are, you're not hooking the person. This is perfectly legitimate in the eyes of the company because we're not doing anything, inappropriate or illegal. It goes in as a traditional show and the host takes the benefits, and what the host decides to do with their own money to cut their own personal check to the donation is up to them. So when I say to people, my show average is $1,000, I'd really like to get your opinion on this. Would you rather, and I kind of put a little twist on it like this. I'll say, would you like to go the route most of my fundraiser hosts take, which is this way? Or would you like me to put it in as a regular fundraiser and it would, based on 1,000 in sales, it would earn 150? And then I'll go one more jump. I'll say if we have a $2,000 show, that's $860 in free products of your choice. And then you would donate $300. So you have $860 and you're only letting go at $300.
Hey, Lisa.
Yes.
I just did that this past week. It just closed. And it went really well because she also hit $1,000 and I give them free shipping at $1,000. And she happened to be having some financial issues. So she was able to get all that free and buy gifts for her family for the holidays coming up with her free product. And then she's going to write the check to the organization. And then what I did, I gave her the option. I did get 3 parties booked off of the show. And I said, well, Pampered Chef would have given this much money. I said, you have the option. And because she suffers from the condition that she was doing the fundraiser for. Okay. I said, I gave her the option of, I said, can give you the money that Pampered Chef would have given you, or I can give you what I would give you in like a product, bonus that I give when people book 3 parties. She chose the cash. So I did Venmo her cash.
That was $9, right?
Yep.
Okay.
And it was totally worth it for me.
Okay.
So
it's a great thing to do because I just think it reaps more good than not.
She also felt like she had more control because they just started their own branch off the national amount. So instead of the money going to national, she can make sure the check goes into their local EIN. So it was a win-win all the way around. So I remembered you had mentioned that in another call. And so I tried it and that worked really well.
Terrific, Diane. Thank you. Now I'm going to give you two more twists before we move on to Amy. Let's just say the host says, no, thank you. I'm just going to go the traditional route. You can ask the host, would you mind if I still went ahead and put it in as a regular show, and I will be cutting you. I will be taking the host benefits, and I will be cutting you the check for $150 or for the percentage. So let's just say the consultant puts it in as a cooking or a catalog or a virtual party, and let's say it's $1,000 in sales. The consultant gets to keep the host benefits, the free products, which you can now turn around and keep for your own home. You could sell it on the side for cash. You could donate it. You could give it to as gifts, whatever. And you can cut the check for $150 out of your personal account. Because that person, if they're going the traditional route, I don't think they give a hoot where the money's coming from, as long as they're just getting the money. Does that make sense? So on a $9,000 dance fundraiser, I did this. And I took the host benefits. It wasn't during a double month, so I don't remember what it was last year at some point. And I took the host benefits and I cut the check to the dance studio, and then I sold the products, which again, you want to be low key about that, because Pampered Chef doesn't really, what they don't know doesn't hurt if we're doing it, selling them for cash on the side. But I made triple the amount. It was a little more extra work on my part because it was a $9,000 party, but my host was thrilled, and she did it again with me the following year. And it was about $6,000 the second year. The last part of this is, what if the host, ask the host, let's say it's a school fundraiser. Ask the host, would you typically get involved in a charity auction, in a Chinese auction? And if you don't know what a Chinese auction is when mostly companies give donations or they collect products, they put them in baskets with pretty cellophane and bows, and then people come to an event and they purchase tickets and they bid on the ones that they want. Everybody familiar with that? Mm-hmm. So when you sell tickets, and I always say it like this, if you're having a Chinese auction where it's going to be attracting, a couple of hundred people passing through the doors, you will make more money selling tickets if you take the host benefits, you choose the products that you think you want to basket up and raffle off, and then you sell tickets to these baskets, and boom, you've made a lot more than $150 based on a $1,000 party. Okay, so that's just another way of looking at it. Now, before we leave time for Q&A, I would love for you to meet the amazing team leader, Amy Bennett. Amy, you still with us?
Yep, I'm here.
Yay! It's like what are those things where people call in on the phone, those celebrity things? So Amy's a single mom of a lovely 14-year-old girl, and she does Pampered Chef alongside her. Am I saying it right? Pharmaceuticals, that's your full-time career?
Yep, I run the narcotics department for a long-term care pharmacy.
There we go. And she is a part of Jenny Gillen's team. And she has over $75,000 in career sales as an online consultant. And get this, guys, she's only with the company a little over 2 years. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen so we can all come back. And we're going to hear from Amy because she did an over $20,000 fundraiser online last month for a cause she's going to tell us about. Take it away, girl.
Okay, so the fundraiser was for Animal Adventure Park. I don't know if any of you are familiar with April the giraffe. She went viral a couple years ago when she had her baby. I actually went to high school with the owner of the park, which is how I got hooked up with doing the fundraiser. And Nina, who is joining us tonight, was a guest in my fundraiser and then signed on as a consultant.
That's amazing.
Yep, so I was just chatting with Jordan, who's the owner of Animal Adventure, on Facebook one day, and we were just going back and forth, and it was when COVID had first started, and I knew he was very stressed out because he couldn't open the park up to foot traffic. So I had mentioned about Pampered Chef and doing the fundraiser. Didn't really push it too much, just wanted to kind of, put it out there a little bit for him, and then he wound up reaching back out to me like maybe 2 weeks later and was like, hey, let's go ahead and do this. And I'm thinking like, okay, April's got a pretty big following, way underestimated the following for April. And I was like, I'll probably get like maybe $5,000 in sales out of this fundraiser. And I was so excited to get the 5,000, and we wound up hitting slightly over $20,000 in sales.
That is crazy. So I'm going to ask you, this was done on Facebook, right? And
Yeah.
I remember the day you posted on Jenny's group on Facebook how it was just taking off and it had a life of its own. Can you explain how he was able to get so much in sales?
So it was just, it was so crazy. I was at work and Jordan sent me a message and he's like, I just posted the link. He's like, into a fan page that we have for the park. He's like, for, you know, everyone who follows April, he's like, and the park. And within, I don't even think an hour, there was just thousands of dollars worth of sales. Like my phone was just going absolutely insane. I mean, but really, but there was really no secret or special tip or trick. Like he posted and like the people who followed the park just were so happy to support him and to support the zoo and to support Pampered Chef. And I made so many amazing friends out of that, which was like the best part of all of it, because I got to meet Nina. I got to meet so many great people out of it. And it was a really great experience, and it came at the perfect time because I was on the verge of ending with Pampered Chef. So this kind of renewed everything for me. So it was really good. And I'm very, very happy that we talked about the fundraiser.
And I'm telling you right now, I always feel like everything happens for a reason. And I feel like, you know, something, you know, caused you to get involved in this, and you could have ignored it. You could have decided not to ask, and he could have obviously not pursued it. But I wanted to know if you have any advice for everyone on the call for, you know, maybe they're an animal lover. So that would be a pretty easy, you know, way to go into their local community and animal shelters and find people that care. Because I have to tell you, my son is 24 years old. When he was 8 years old, he had to do a fundraiser for Kent Animal Shelter out east, so here on Long Island. And I remember it was for his religious class. And he was only 8, and he said to me, you know, who's going to give me money for animals? And I said to him, I want you to trust me on this. I'm going to be helping you. I'm not going to let the kid run around the neighborhood by himself asking for money. But I said, I'm going to tell you right now, people will give 5 times harder for an animal than they will for a person. And he's like, I don't believe you, blah, blah, blah. Well, I took him around to the local merchants in town, the pizzeria, the hairdresser, the real estate brokers. I took him around just in my town and, of course, in my neighborhood. And inside of 2 days, this 8-year-old, and this was, you know, don't make me do the math, he's 24 now, however long ago that was, he had over $800 in cash. And we had walked into places like pet stores and grooming facilities for animals, and they donated collars and foods and beds and anything an animal shelter could get their hands on. So if they weren't able to make a cash donation, they just threw things at us: dog food, cat food, all kinds of things. And so I still get the chills thinking about it, because it was just so heartwarming to not only not see disappointment in his eyes, but he saw the way the community wrapped themselves around this cause. And his entire religious class did this. So they, you know, you set 12 kids free in the same town. We had a lot of places we could hit. But when animals are involved, I just find that people that love animals will give and do a little bit more than they will, you know, a human. It's not across the board, it's just my feeling. But what advice would you have, or what words could you give everyone on the call for if they're going to reach out to someone that they either know is a diehard animal lover, or to their local shelters? What words could they use to invite them to host a fundraising party?
Wording is always, honestly, has been what I would struggle with the most. Usually I went to Jenny for stuff like that. But one thing I have noticed, like, I'm very just open and honest with them, and I don't try to sell it to them. I kind of pump it up more, like, you know, I'm excited to raise the money for the animals, like, but don't come off too pushy. Like, that's my biggest thing, because I know I have other consultants who I've been friends with on Facebook for years, don't talk to. All of a sudden I get the random message and they're like, oh, hey girl, I just joined Usborne Books or whatever. And like, they're very pushy about it. I would say the biggest thing to do is establish that connection first before you try to, you know, to sell them that fundraiser.
Absolutely. I totally agree. And if you have local facilities in your area, I think that, you know, bringing in a donation is a great little conversation starter also. You know, even if you grabbed a $5 bag of dog food from the supermarket that's on sale, and just, you know, pop in and say, I was just thinking about you guys today. I live in this town, and, you know, with everything that's going on, are you guys getting the funding you need to care for these animals? And that's literally how it can happen. And when we talk to people in our parties, you know, by asking good questions, we'll get the answers that we're looking for. But I find even myself, I lose track of fundraising. Fundraising is a subject that just leaves my brain. And I have to force myself, like we think virtual party, you know, maybe even bridal registry, but fundraising always slips my mind. So again, at the top of the call, we said, as you're driving around, take notice of, maybe these kids could do car wash fundraisers this summer for their schools, hopefully, because it's outdoors, but take notice of any fundraising signs when we're out and about. Photograph it, call the person, you know, speak to the person in charge of fundraising. You know, have you booked your Pampered Chef fundraiser yet this year? What's the worst that could possibly happen? It's a no, or it's a no, not now. But here's the thing, guys. A car wash fundraiser, it has to be outside. It has to require towels and buckets and soap and kids behaving. If we have a fundraiser at a school, chocolate, wrapping paper, you know, whatever. Typically when my kids were in school, the parents had to go up to the school on a certain night and collect their purchases. Or they paid $18 to get their $9 wrapping paper. With Pampered Chef and being online, everything being direct shipped to the customer, it's a huge perk to say to the chairperson of a fundraiser, you know, I'm going to say, Kim, I'm going to make this so easy. You're going to want to fundraise with me 3 times a year. Not only will you not have any products to sort and deliver or announce or have people to come and collect, but everything's going to be delivered right to the customer's home. I'm going to help you by, you know, I'm going to interview the chairperson by saying, how many parents or how many people would also get behind this with us? Because when we have one person, we could have a great fundraiser, but if we have 10 people all trying to collect orders, and that's how that dance fundraiser got so big for me, because there were 10 or 12 parents that had their child in the gymnastics, and they were going to regionals in Disney World. And the host asked me, could you come to the gymnastics studio? It was in Port Jefferson. She goes, can you speak to the parents while they're sitting around waiting for their kids to get out of gymnastics? And I said, absolutely. And I said, if all 10 of you came together and everybody went out and collected orders, it will grow so quickly. And in this particular case, all the kids would have shared the pot. In other words, Susie wouldn't have earned more than Jamie. You know, all the money went into one large pot and all of it was split equally among the kids. If you have a situation where, you know, Jenny sells for her daughter and her daughter gets credit for the sales her daughter collected, that's even better, because the parents are going to work a little bit harder if their child is going to benefit directly from what that child did. But you can still put all the orders together in one party and then keep track of it, you know, how many, because when I did this, I gave each parent their own online link, and I gave them their own order form, and it had their child. And then one year I tried it different. I put everybody in one party, but I said, when you order, you have to put the dancer's name under yours in the address field so that we know whose child is getting credit. So there's a lot of different ways, you know, when it's a gigantic. So Amy really would have been in big trouble with free products, as she promised this gentleman to put it in as a party. So thank goodness. I don't even know if anybody can calculate the amount of free products a $20,000 party generates. I would love to hear that. Does anybody have any questions about what we talked about tonight?
I do. I have 3 questions.
Go ahead, Joe.
Okay, number 1. Is there a requirement from Pampered Chef that the company you're doing the fundraiser for is a 501c3?
Is it what?
Do they have to, a 501c3? You know, like any, it's the IRS's way of keeping track of, like a PTA is a 501c3. Do they?
I can't answer with absolute certainty, but I've never even heard that term in 22 years, nor have I used it. So
okay.
It might even vary from state to state.
Okay.
And certainly if you're going around and doing it as a cooking party or a virtual party.
Mine was a brand new thing, and they were a brand new charity, so.
Okay, so there's no requirement.
Almost
Okay.
$9,000 one, so I don't
Okay.
think so.
Okay,
It just has to be an organization.
Okay,
great. Thanks, Rose. And what's
perfect.
your second question.
Second is, how long do you do it for? How many days?
That's a great question. So if you are a regular consultant where the orders do not go in until the host closes, right?
Mhm.
You're going to put this party in maybe worst case scenario, a 2-week cycle, because you don't want to give too much rope for
Right.
these people to hang themselves with, but you could easily get it done. Amy, how long was yours for the giraffe?
So originally I was going to do a week, but there was requests to keep it a little bit longer because certain people were waiting for unemployment checks or waiting for paychecks. So we actually wound up going about 15 days. And surprisingly, I had no declined credit cards at all.
Great.
Wow.
So again, you can have this conversation with the chairperson and make them understand that nobody's order will get processed until the show is finalized. However, there are people in direct ship now where it started out originally as a pilot program where, and that's the one I'm in, where when a guest orders on a party online, their order immediately processes and goes.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
so when we weren't in COVID, this was absolutely magical because not only do us as the consultants never deal with a declined credit card, but more often than not, the guests that ordered early had their products before the show even closed. So
Mhm.
in a direct ship situation, if the company ever evolves to the point where everybody is going to be in that situation, then Joe, you could keep that party open 6 months because the
Mhm.
orders, not that we would take it that long, but the orders are going to go right out without holding up and inconveniencing anyone.
Right.
So for the
Okay.
time being, I think you fall into the regular category, but we don't know what's coming at conference. We may get a great announcement,
Right. Mhm,
but
mhm.
yeah.
Okay.
All right.
And then the third question, do you have to make a Facebook group for it, or you just send a link out to the people
Okay.
for the paper check page?
So when we do fundraising, as in any other type of show, orders can come in through text. They can come in through paper catalog orders. They can come in through Facebook. They can come in through Instagram. They can come in through emails, phone calls, whatever. But I would absolutely create a Facebook group if the person is on Facebook, 1000%.
Okay. Okay.
Amy, you agree with that? Yes?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, the Facebook group for Animal Adventure had, I think, over 500 people in it.
Oh, okay.
So, and then there is something, Amy, correct me if I'm wrong, because I haven't done one of this magnitude in a while. When we're setting it up online, does it still ask you to check the box if the company is going to be putting your website on their organization's page?
Yes.
Okay. So the company just wants to know, so let's say if it was for the not American Cancer Society, let's just say it was for Amy's cause, all right? And it's going to ask them in the setup under Consultants Corner, will the organization be posting our website on their website? And so we have to just check that box. It must have something to do with legal stuff. I don't know. But that's it.
Okay.
All
Okay.
right.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Anybody else have any questions? So, it's a lot like exercise. We don't do it unless we're thinking about it.
I don't have a question, but I do have just to tell you, when I did my fundraiser last year, my big fundraiser,
Tell everybody what kind of fundraiser it was, Rose, and how much
it was last year it was fundraiser for a man that was in our hospital. It was a firefighter who was in the hospital. He was a local firefighter who was fighting sepsis. His wife went to Facebook for prayers, and I reached out and asked them because she was forming an organization. It was called Woodward Strong, and so she just made a Facebook group, and so she was talking about a charity she was making, and so I reached out to her, and actually we just are closing one now. Didn't do as well, but it was, long story short. anyways, this fundraiser, but what happened was he was in and out of the hospital and then going to the rehab. So she didn't have time to post it on her page. So it was kind of going, because you know how the way Facebook is, it was kind of going to the side and as a visitor's post. So my post, even if I was posting it every day, it was going to visitors. So like it was 2 weeks. I made it 2 weeks long and it was literally about to close. I called her up, told her what was happening, and she apologized that she didn't get it out on the page. She put it literally on the group, and that night my party went from like, I think I had 2 orders at like $100 or $200 to like, I think by the time I went to bed that night, it was a $2,000 party. It ended up closing at almost 9,000. It was like $8,000 something party.
Unbelievable.
So,
Wow.
and that I was only like in for what, 3 months? 4 months. I was in 4 months at that time. So,
And I'm seeing a
That's pretty
trend here.
awesome.
Both Rose and Amy are on Jenny's team. And, you know, I just have to say that when somebody does something like this and other consultants, you know, learn about it, we kind of inspire one another. You know, we teach one another, but sometimes it's like, hey, you know, if she was able to do it or he was able to do it, I could go and do it also. So my advice to everybody is if this is something that you can take an interest in and get behind, is fundraising, make a note and put it on your desk or wherever you'll see it, and commit to making 3 to 5 fundraiser type reach outs a week, specifically targeting somebody who can benefit from a fundraiser. Because, you know, we're not talking about what's going on, but places need money, places need funding all year round, but especially now. So I hope you learned something that you didn't already know before tonight, and hopefully the little tips and tricks I gave you give you a new spin on things, because it really doesn't matter, you know, how we're getting the company the money, as long as doing things appropriately through Pampered Chef. Because if it goes in as a cooking show and we cut our own check, or the host cuts her own check, that's, Pampered Chef has no problem with that. All right. Anybody else have any questions before we go? I didn't want to keep you guys an hour because it's, you know, I had you guys, some of you last night also.
One quick question.
Sure.
Where do I sign up for convention?
You go to Consultants Corner, click Explore, and it should be the first box.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Smart move. Okay, anybody else have anything to add or ask? Amy, I want to thank you because I know you've had a really long week and a long day, and I am super, super, super proud, as is Jenny. You know, really, I don't think anybody on Long Island, maybe even all of New York, maybe in most of the company, has ever done a single $20,000 fundraiser.
Well,
So-
thank you very much, and I appreciate you and Jenny supporting. I have learned from the 2 best consultants there are, so.
Aw. You hear that, Tony? Oh, never mind. He knows. Okay. It's like you're locked in that room all day. There better be people you're helping in there. Okay. Thank you, everybody. If you have any questions, you know, because sometimes we hang up from the call and we're like, oh, I forgot the question. Just post it. If you're on Jenny's team, post it on her group, or if you're on my team or wherever, post it somewhere and somebody will get to you. But thanks, guys. I appreciate your time.
Thank you so much. That was informative.
I did record this, so I'll share the recording.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.